Let's see. Okay, we got The Limit Films asks, what do you guys think of airsoft guns as props in both professional and low-budget films? Nice.
Okay.
We actually give out a lot of props. Well, we provide a lot of props for a lot of movie companies or games or anybody who needs something to look like a firearm that isn't a real firearm.
There's a definite advantage the use of airsoft guns allows when you're talking about filming things, especially for independent film crews and independent filmmakers. To use real firearms, you have to have a permit and B, a licensed and trained firearms expert on set. And with airsoft guns, you don't necessarily need to have the same level of commitment or the same level of
you don't need a personnel, so it's cheaper, more affordable, and now with visual effects, with I mean everybody can do it now. It's not as hard as it was.
And if they look and function the same, especially with gas blowbacks, you get the same recoil, which is hard to replicate, especially if you're trying to imitate it physically. With the technology behind gas blowback powered guns now, really their use as props is only growing. So we're seeing a lot more and more people use them, and it's great. They look great on camera. All right, our helmet's filling up here.
You dropped one.
Sorry. All right, this is posed by Jacob Pollard. Love the show. What are some tips on filming an airsoft game? A lot of filming questions. My team is looking to invest in GoPro cameras, and we would like your thoughts on the topic. Thank you.
GoPros are great.
Well, George is an expert in cameras, so I think you're probably best suited to answer this, right?
Well, what we do is we actually have a pretty good setup for our helmet cameras. We have 6 GoPros now. We have the new ones. We just swapped out our old ones. We run it off a power pack on the helmets.
That's a really cool idea.
We usually mount it upside down using the extra mount. That way it's closer to your eye. It gets a lot better. I've been doing that for my own film setup for about 2 years now, and it works great. So
and when the GoPro's not as high on your head, it doesn't the
bump.
reflections.
Especially, we also noticed when going in and out of the Humvee, it was a lot better to have the camera lower. So, but get some GoPros. That's how you film it. Just press record and have fun.
And most of the time, when you have it all the way up here, if you're looking around a corner, the GoPro may not actually see what you're seeing. So the closer you can get it to your line of sight, the better.
Also, paint the case and cut holes out for the mic ports. It'll make it sound better.
Yeah, and gun cameras work really cool too.
Yes.
I think in terms of like filming an airsoft game or filming an airsoft event and making it interesting, is you have to remember that people's attention spans are relatively short.
Yes.
That's why commercials are only 30 seconds long. That's why the shorter people's attention spans get in modern times. You have to make things exciting on a regular interval.
Well, some people do different videos. I mean, if you look at like Jet's videos, they're very long, whereas we kind of are more short and action-packed oriented.
But he narrates, which is cool.
Yeah, he narrates, which is definitely, it helps you go like, what's going on? Oh, this is happening. So that's cool.
I think best advice, just kind of watch ones that you enjoy and then kind of pick styling cues from those.
Yeah. All right, next question. Savino12373. Hey Matt, or hey Evike people, what is your opinion on helicopter usage for airsoft? Though only for milsim, I've always wanted to see a Blackhawk S helicopter with an Echo 1 M134
minigun.
Okay, on the sides and some serious airborne firepower. For some serious airborne firepower. That would be cool, but very good luck getting a Blackhawk to do that.
A Blackhawk, or even Huey.
Even if a Huey would cost so much money. I mean, we'd be spending $1,000 just for a game.
Yeah, it would be expensive, but more so than that, to fly any sort of aerial vehicle, you have to get special permission from the FAA. Yes. And to get permission from the FAA for an airsoft event is both extremely time-consuming and extremely difficult. But not to mention,
it is legal to shoot an airsoft gun out of an aircraft, though.
Is it?
Yeah, no, Jet. Remember when Jet was at Broken Home, and when we go to Broken Home next year, we will definitely there is legality that it's completely legal.
It may be in like that region. Like I can't imagine somebody in California allowing that to happen.
I would have to look into the laws. I don't know. I mean, it could be done.
Don't try it out.
It would be expensive. I mean, regardless, it would be expensive. and
It is really cool.
It's really cool, but
you have to remember too, most airsofters think on a two-dimensional plane. They're only
Yeah.
aware of what's in front of them and in 360 degrees, or 360 degrees around them.
They don't look up,
They
they don't look
generally
down.
don't look up or down. So another tip or trick from George and I, when you're engaging people, try to change elevations, both lower and higher, because generally people won't see you, and you can get an advantage. And
A
if
lot
you're
of
in a
people-
helicopter, you have a major advantage.
Well, that'd be cool, but it'd be very expensive.
Yeah. All
And,
right.
and actually, the main cost wouldn't even be the minigun.
what is
It'd be the cheap
this?
part. Well, that's a
Oh my gosh. Okay. Ms. Kukaf. Kukaf. Hey, Evike guys. I'm playing Airsoft for about 4 years now, but because I live in Germany, I have to follow some weird rules. One, airsoft guns that shoot above 232 FPS are only allowed to fire semi-auto for safety purposes. And two, no light or laser attachment, identified as ASG as ASG. What do you think about those rules? Are those rules reasonable? And greetings from the München of Airsoft.
that's a long question.
München.
So it's what we think of the rules.
I'm terrible at German.
What do we think of the rules?
Yeah, what do we think of those specific rules as pertaining to Germany?
I don't like. I mean, outdoors would probably stink because semi is not that effective outdoors. At least at a longer distance,
Sure.
it's a lot harder.
But I mean, as we discussed in our last table talk with Shades, FPS doesn't necessarily reflect
range.
distance or range.
Very true.
With a good hop up, your FPS isn't totally responsible for reaching out and touching people. I mean, it's effective to have higher FPSs, but I mean, yeah, 232 comparatively is relatively low. But that just means that if you have to get closer up and engage people a little bit closer, within reason, then do that. It makes you more effective in terms of movement.
I wonder
And
if
as
he,
for the
I
second
wonder if he
rule-
means meters per second versus feet per second. 232 meters per second.
I don't know.
I mean that would be more than 400.
They'd be like 600.
Yeah, never mind. It's probably correct. Anyway,
And what was the second one he asked?
he just said the flashlights, lasers.
No flashlights. Okay, lasers maybe I can understand
I
if
can
they were like a
understand
green
that.
laser or like
Yeah.
a blue laser that could damage somebody's eyes.
Yes.
Flashlights, that kind of sucks. I mean, they're so cool to use in game.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I don't like that rule at all.
Sorry.
Fix your airsoft.
Come
rules.
visit us.
Yeah, go visit us. We'll
Or take a short trip over to Britain. They got some awesome airsoft games. in
They
Britain.
got some crazy stuff over there. All right, try to go for the bottom. More fortune cookies. Okay, Connor Van Dyne. Okay, what is your opinion on full metal guns and polymer guns? We kind of got a question like this.
We had it last week. Let's go ahead and let's move on.
I mean, yeah, polymer. It's you get what you pay for.
They both have advantages. And they both have disadvantages.
We talked about that last week. David Beltran. Hey, Evike. Hey, Evike. All right, sorry. I love the show. It helps new people to the sport can get into the sport. What good use do you see for paracord, zip ties, or duct tape on the field, whether it could be a milsim game or a normal force-on-force?
All three. All three are extremely effective on the airsoft field. I don't use duct tape.
I carry electrical tape on
Electrical
my back.
tape.
Electrical tape is a must-have for any airsoft.
Yep.
I
Whether
have it
you
with
need
me in
to-
my loadout bag. It is there, and it'll fix almost anything.
If you have a PEC box break, you can tape it on.
If you have a battery
issue, like maybe somebody lent you a battery that's too big, tape it to the outside.
Your fuse goes out, and you don't need to fix it. And you put it together, and you tape.
Yeah.
Everything. It works for everything.
Zip ties the same way. If you're throwing a Thunderbee and you need somewhere to put the pin, zip tie it to your rig if you have to, or zip tie something together. And it's the same thing for what was the other one? Paracord.
You need to fix your sling.
Impromptu sling, improvised grenade, like anti-personnel grenade. If you have to tape it to a wall and run the paracord, you can use it as a huge variety of things. All three of those things you should have on your person.
Yes.
Not to mention, I mean, never mind. That's cool.
All three are very useful.
Yeah.
Electrical tape is better than duct tape, though.
Yes, because it's stretchy.
Yeah.
Pyromaniac. What are your thoughts on guns that can use CO2 and green gas?
So that would be very few guns.
KJWs, or any
yeah.
of some of the elite forces.
Yeah, the WeTech ones. We have, great
That's
stuff.
great.
CO2 is a lot easier to find than green gas specific. You could get the propane adapter, and then it's about actually easier to find the propane adapters because you can get that at a grocery store. But I'd say CO2 probably gives you the better performance, especially in the cold.
Well, when you're dealing with a gun that is built to handle CO2 pressures and CO2 functioning conditions, with the lack of lubricant and CO2 and all those things, if a pistol or gas blowback is made to function with CO2, it will function with green gas, and it'll function extremely well with both.
Yeah.
So buying something that is dual purpose like that is sometimes more reliable than
Yeah.
one that is just for green gas.
I agree.
Great stuff. Like that expanding foam.
What?
It's not. I was walking around Home Depot yesterday.
Anyway, longest. Mega Spartan 2008. Should I bring a dead rag to CQB games like Saturday for an hour game, or for a few hour game? Yes.
Yeah.
Always bring a red rag. I always have one on me. When I played CQB last weekend, I had a red rag on there. I had my red V light too. So I mean, just put that on and when you're coming around a corner, instead of waving your hand, just wave that red rag, and people automatically know he's dead.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point I was going to make. It's not always the case that raising your hands is going to prevent you from getting lit up or shot accidentally. So any measures you can take to make people more aware that you are out and that you shouldn't be shot, take them.
Yeah.
So and especially if you pick up one of our microfiber dead rags,
they're great for
then you've
cleaning
got something to wipe out your goggles or anything else you need to on the field. So it's a dual purpose thing. You should always just keep it on your gear, and then you don't have to worry about bringing it with you or not.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got here? Great topic for the Not So Roundtable. Flared magwells. This question is posed to us by Iron Colt Airsoft. Flared magwells, tactically useful or a nuisance?
I never used a flared magwell.
Well, I've seen them on.
I've seen them.
I've seen them on. I've seen people run them on M4s.
I've seen them on real guns. I've used them on real guns before, and it's handy. So I think mainly is it specific to M4s? Or
No. I think he means in general, because I use
think
sort of a flared magwell
for
on my
pistols.
pistol.
I think they're very handy. I think they're great for pistols, because sometimes especially like a 1911, if you ever shot like a really good 1911, sometimes they have like a beveled in magwell, and it makes reloading a lot easier. And also with the 1911 mags, you could sometimes get that pinch, the finger pinch, and that really hurts.
Okay, but here's the thing though with flared magwells. Okay, it is a piece, and I'm going to base my knowledge here solely on my work on the high Kappa, because I haven't really worked with any other pistols. But from my experience, I installed a flared magwell on my high Kappa.
Okay.
And when I first installed it, it didn't do a damn thing.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out why. I was like, the flared magwell should be helping me load faster, because in theory, the flared magwell expands the amount of room you have to load a magazine. So
it's quicker.
as you're firing, bang, 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 you're already grabbing another magazine, dropping out, fast swapping, right? But as you're doing that, if you have a wider opening, in theory, you should be able to load quicker. Here's the thing I didn't remember. When you install a flared magwell, you have to actually file down the edges of the inside of the magwell towards the bottom so that you get a smooth slope. Otherwise, you just have a brick that's outlining a smaller hole. That amount of lip right here doesn't make it easier to load. It's just something else in your way. So make sure that you're filing that down. Every airsoft part takes some amount of customization. I don't care what people say. Nothing is ever truly drop in. Every gun's different. Every part is different.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Very good advice. I didn't really know that. Okay. Stray Dog 521. Oh, and it's pronounced Evike. Is it pronounced Evike, or yes, it's pronounced Evike.
It's pronounced Evike.
Okay. Let's see. Matt and George, talk about how it makes you feel when people pronounce it wrong. It doesn't bother me. It's not my name.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I've heard it pronounced probably about 5 or 6 different ways.
Yeah, it's Evike. The reason it's Evike, it's someone's name.
Yeah.
Simple. Here you go.
Easy enough. And,
if you want to call it Evike, that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't bother us.
It
didn't insult the guy whose name is Evike.
Yeah.
Okay. Bridges Bomber Films asks, what are your thoughts on the whole M4 thing? Me personally, I hate the gun because literally everyone has one, and I like to be unique. I use a PPSH, and I love it, but it's less tactical, harder to use, fix, and way heavier than an M4. So to sum it up, my question is, what do you think about the tacticalness versus personality in a gun?
It's a tough one.
Okay. From my point of view, I understand why M4s are popular. It replicates something that's in use by current military service members. They are easy to modify, easy to make look unique, and because they use a standardized rail system, that means that universal attachments, like anything that'll fit a Picatinny rail, work with practically every M4 and M16 platform. With that said, when you standardize things like that, you lose that personality.
Yeah.
And guns that do look a lot cooler, for example, the P90, the FN 2000, the UMP, guns that look a little bit more unique, you lose some of that functionality, maybe some of that upgradability in terms of looks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, ultimately, your personality and your reflection of your personality in your airsoft gun is why you're playing airsoft. I mean,
if you want to be different, there's nothing wrong with being different.
And ultimately, I'm sure you'll find a way to adapt the platform you have to be more effective. I mean, the guy who asked the question, I'm sure you've modified your PPSH just a little bit to make it more usable on the field.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not running a completely stock PPSH. And the same goes for anybody else that's running a non-standard platform. You know, adapt it to you, adapt it to your personality, your body style, and your play style. And ultimately, you're going to have a great airsoft gun regardless of its shape or form.
Okay, so here's a question I have for you. What unique gun would you choose if not an M4?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you're 416 either.
Okay.
What unique gun would you choose as advice, knowing all this information we just talked about? What would you choose? This is me asking my own question.
You asking me a question. What
Yes,
would I choose?
and I'll answer it too. What would you choose?
If I had to choose one that was like more unique looking, I would pick a what is it called? JG calls it something different now because they can't call it what they originally called it. It's like a MP5, but it's a big mag.
The G3?
Yeah, the G3. I would pick the G3. G3 used to be really popular when TM came out with them.
Yeah.
They had the G3 SAS, they had the G3 full size, they had a bunch of different variants. They waned in popularity for a while, and I think they're coming back.
Okay.
But the reason I like it is because it looks like an MP5. It's a relatively small platform. The one that I have, actually, has a folding stock, which I like. But it uses a big magazine, so it doesn't suffer from any of the small 200-round high-cap mag problems that the MP5 does. So, if I was looking for something unique that wasn't an M4 but still had the ability to take on rails and other attachments, G3. How about you?
I'm torn. I think what I would do is do a G36, but I would do the M4 magwell conversion because mag pouches for G36 mags are very tough.
And I didn't think about that. G3 magazine.
Yeah, G36 is... Well, no, G3 mags aren't bad, but I'll go with the G36, and then you'd have two different lengths, you know, for the long length with the bipod and the shorter C. And that... I don't even own a G36. That's what's funny about it. All I have is AKs and M4, so...
Well, there you go.
All right.
Actually, matter of fact, I haven't used my G3 in a long time.
I didn't know you
Think
had
about
a
bringing
G3.
that- Well, no, because I put a swordfish front end on it,
yeah.
and it made it unique, and then it was really front heavy, so I stopped
like
using it.
these small ones anymore. Thunderbees and tornadoes, grenades, are they really necessary? And this is by Titan KB.
Titan KB.
Or Titan KB. Tintin KB.
Tintin KB.
I'm horrible with names. I'm horrible at reading because these are all really small and I have horrible eyes.
Okay, Thunderbees and airsoft grenades. Yes, I think they're definitely necessary because they add that level of three-dimensionality, again, so that, you know, airsofters aren't just looking forward and backward and maybe side to side.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you know, looking up, looking down, being aware of your surroundings, especially when you're dealing with that new element of, you know, an object like a grenade moving into your radius. Being aware of that makes you a better airsoft player in general.
Some people don't like the noise from the Thunderbees. I know there's some fields out here that have banned them because of some reason or another, and it's disappointing. I think that maybe they were overused. I would say that they were
Fair
overused.
enough, yeah.
I think that they need to be used responsibly, but I think when used responsibly, they're awesome.
Yes.
That said, I was really disappointed when we went to Irene because we found out when we got there that they were only a distraction device, which I do disagree with completely. It's really hard to have a good airsoft grenade. And actually, the only great airsoft grenades I've seen are actually used in the UK. Like
cold smokes?
The ones you pull and they're like flame and they go off.
Oh, the flashbangs.
Yeah, the flash.
Yeah.
They're not like full flashbangs, but they like that is cool. I would love to use that, but they, you know, here it's some
I
places
imagine
allow
they don't have as many fires as we do.
Some place allows them. California wouldn't, but I
No.
mean, some places in the U.S. do allow them. Same thing with like cold smokes with the smoke
So
grenades.
cool.
Love that stuff. Like Red Storm was so fun because there's smoke grenades.
Oh yeah, it
flying
makes it
everywhere.
way more realistic.
And you know, if you're having trouble moving to a position, you could throw a bunch of smoke, and you can, you know, that was excellent.
Yep. Next, airsoft flamethrowers.
But that said, I understand that some people have maybe abused them, especially
Yes.
out here at CQB Fields. I heard stories of dangers that have happened with Thunderbees specifically.
Yeah.
I've seen Thunderbees do weird things, so I think you got to be careful with them too. You know,
Yeah,
you
with
have
the
to keep
proximity,
in mind that
make sure they don't go
are-
off in your hand or you're not going
Yeah.
off in somebody's dump pouch.
or in their tent,
Or the porta potty.
or the car.
Anyway, that just about does it for us here at the Not So Round Table. Thanks for tuning in once again. If you guys have any future questions for us or a random guest that we're going to be bringing
Comment
on
below.
with us, comment below and we'll cut them up, put them in our helm of reasoning, and answer them on our next video.
Give us questions, guys. We like this stuff. So as long as we keep doing these and you guys keep commenting and liking and all that stuff, we will keep doing these shows, and we're very happy to do it for you guys.
Yep, and happy holidays, happy New Year.
holidays.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.